We're about to go absolutely ham with Cultivator Colossus. Bang. Oof, a second TOS? Oh man. This is what you call doing it. Yeah, so opponent, to answer your question, I think the land is pretty good. That's my official stance. Hello and welcome everybody. This is Red Face Menace from the future because I actually forgot to record an intro. I was so excited to play this list. So that's me doing that right now. We're playing with the Mycosynth Gardens, the new card from the new Phyrexia set that I can't remember the name of at the moment. Of course, I made a video previously talking about the power of Mycosynth Gardens and Amulet, so if that's something that you want to see, then check it out in the description below. But long story short, this is a land that lets us copy our Amulet and go absolutely wild with 2, 3, 4, even as many as, 6 copies of Amulet, depending on how many copies of this card we end up drawing. So, obviously, a very exciting, very powerful addition to the deck. I already knew that going in, and, people are going wild over this card, and it deserves the attention that it's receiving. So, other than that, in this list, we're playing some interesting inclusions. For example, 1 copy of Crumbling Vestige over the 10th bounce land, just to give us an additional turn 1 green source, since we have been making a little bit of room for our Mycosynths by cutting things like a 3rd Boseiju or a 3rd Cavern, that sort of thing. And for that reason, playing 1 Crumbling Vestige as a green source makes sense to me. I don't know if it's the best, but it's something that we're doing. In addition, we have a couple copies of Seal of Primordium in the sideboard. This is one that I've seen a couple different players, including Mistaken, playing as a 2-mana way to preemptively answer like a Blood Moon or a Dress Down. And that way you don't just have to keep holding up the mana all the time. You can just invest it in the Seal and then just let it sit there until it either does nothing and your opponent just never plays their Blood Moon or whatever, or you just have whatever it is that you're trying to cover covered. So, other than that, we are playing a couple copies of Hydroid Krasis. This is one that I decided would be an interesting card to test in the new Mycosynth shell, since with multiple amulets getting up to extremely absurd amounts of mana for Hydroid Krasis should be a little bit easier, so that's something that we're trying today as well. Only 1 copy of Tireless Tracker, as our Krasises are doubling as additional threats. See how that ends up playing out. Of course, I already know, because I'm Red Face Menace of the future, but I'm pretending like I'm not, so. Anyways, this should be a blast, and hopefully you guys will see the power of this card, as well as enjoy on some of the fun of playing with it in a league. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the games. We're going to be untapping a lot here. I am sincerely hoping this does not crash my PC. And on the play, starting with the good vibes, we got a double Amulet hand thanks to the Mycosynth Gardens. Yeah, this seems like a pretty good keep. We even have a Titan rolled up in our Talari West here, so. Alright. Yeah, I think this is a pretty simple, just Mycosynth Amulet pass. See if they have the turn 1 Prismatic Ending. Oh, they have a Godless Shrine. I didn't want them to actually have Prismatic Ending. Giver of Runes. Whew. That means they're probably playing Devoted Druid, by the way, which is not the greatest of news. We can explore into bounce land, second explore, and play land, and the next turn potentially copy Amulet and go off. We could also play bounce land, leave a green floating, copy Amulet, pack for Grazer, and hope that our double explore hits. How much mana does that net? Because we will have T-West to transmute, so we leave a green floating, copy, Grazer up to 4, explore down to 0, play 2 land drops is 8. We'd be 1 short of Titan here with double Amulet. If we found any ramp spell or Titan off of our explorers, we just win. Are we? Am I supposed to go for this? I feel like there's a pretty high chance we actually find the missing piece that we need off of our explorers, because even a Dryad works here, because +1 mana is good enough. I'm so tempted. I guess if we... What happens if we miss on the Explorer? We probably just lose to Pact? Is it too greedy? Our opponent's probably not going to kill us this upcoming turn, so... I think we're just going to chill for a minute. We're going to keep Growth Chamber in hand, though. We'll just float here. Growth Chamber. Okay. I guess we're just going to keep the Explorer for this upcoming turn then. And we can go ahead and copy our Amulet now to play around Prismatic Ending. And then next turn we have probably what it will be a pretty insane turn. This just sets up for a turn 3 kill pretty easily. We can go get our Colossus for maximum fun times if we want to. Just a little innocuous land, you know. Don't worry about this one. Boseiju. I'm Arbor Elf. Okay, that's not what I was expecting at all. The classic Arbor Elf with no forests. Now that's what we call classic. Okay, so I mean, we can Titan into double bounce land, transmute 2 west, and then cast Colossus, which I kind of like. I think that's going to be the play. I'm going to hit 5 to make sure I'm not yielding to double Amulet like an idiot, because I have been known to do that. Also, this Amulet needs to not be right in the middle. I don't know why, but that's very frustrating to me. I think we pick up Sanctuary so we can have some white floating after we resolve our Colossus. So, thank you for the follow, Tyler. We're going to go Titan into Colossus here, I think, to play around Solitude as if our opponent would be playing. They might be with an Arbor Elf in their deck. You never know. Let's see. Double bounce land adds 8, and then we can Grazer up to more than enough to get to Colossus. So I think this should be just fine. We could also just, you know, go for the actual double Amulet kill with just the Titans, but I feel like maybe Colossus is a little bit better against Solitude, which I think is the only thing our opponent could possibly have that we even care about at this point. I guess we could also explore. Should we explore before we go for the Colossus, just in case we hit a land, or should we save the explore for after Colossus resolves? The extra card might matter if we were to hit like Grazer, Dryad or something and it can't attack. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So, oh, and our opponent just scoops. Well, that makes it a lot easier. Turn 3 double Amulet kill seems decent. Though I don't mind that. Alright, so we saw Arbor Elf and Giver Runes. That is a combination I didn't expect to see. But I think it's safe to say that they're probably on Devoted Druid. I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but like I can't see them being on anything else. So I think we want the removal and the dismembers. And if they're playing Tivar, then we might want Bog as well, actually. Although it does mill them 3 when they activate Tivar, but it's not like the biggest deal. They have black, so they could be playing Necromentia, but we have Colossus for that. I don't think we want Krasis in this matchup. Tracker's debatable if they have discard spells. Fair and balanced, exactly. Exactly. I don't really know what they could have that we are actually scared of here. Even Urza Saga doesn't matter that much. We're just trying to win fast. So I don't think we care for Seal. Tracker plays around discard spells, but when they're on Giver of Runes, I feel like they're less likely to be playing discard. Well, like Giver plus Arbor Elf, I suppose I should say. Like that combination makes me think they're more creature focused. Which also means, assuming they're on Devoted Druid, we won't have time to be casting Explorers, so trimming on Explorer makes sense to me. Trimming on Cavern makes obvious sense, considering they're clearly not playing counterspells. And before they counterspell us. Saga is going to be bad against things like Force and the white card March, so maybe trimming a Saga makes sense, although that might be just like committing an atrocity when we're supposed to be trying to kill them fast, but could even trim a Summoner's Pact, which I don't hate. I think we're going to want the full 4 packs. Probably trimming 1 Saga is reasonable, just to play around hate a little bit. We always have Mycosynth to copy Amulet anyways, and trim Expedition Map as well for the reasons that we're cutting Saga. Also, it's kind of clunky, so I feel like this is fine. Hand's not the the strongest. I feel like we can do better than this. We'll mull. This hand's slow, but it's got Explorer, and you guys know how I feel about Explorer. We've got Bounce Land as well. I don't mind this. It doesn't interact though. It's like not fast. So if our opponent just like goes turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Devoted Druid, turn 3 kill us, like we're just gonna sit here and die. On the draw, we could still hit like an Amulet or something off the top. I mean, mainly it would just be Amulet, or I guess maybe Grazer could be good enough to speed this hand up enough. I think it's tentative, but it's probably worth keeping. We could even bottom the Titan and hope that we draw a redundant threat, just so we have as much ramp as possible in case we just top deck lands. I feel like if we keep this, we're going to get run over, but I'm going to mulligan trying to find... actually, we don't know exactly what it is they're playing. They might not be playing Devoted Druid combo, so I think I'm keeping this 6 and just hoping that they're not as fast as Devoted Druid, because they didn't actually show us any combo pieces before. Arbor Elf. Okay, I guess we play... We might want to save the fetch land for Dryad triggers, so we'll just lead on Forest. Not really scared of a Blood Moon or Mages here. Not at the moment, at least. Stoneforge Mystic. Is it getting Giada? One of the combo pieces, or Viridian Longbow? Cauldra. It's neither of those. Dismember would be great. I'll take a Dismember. Well, Grazer's a turn too late here. We can explore into Misty and still Grazer this turn, so I guess that's going to be the play. Huh. Or we could do that. Now we're just missing a Titan. We also might just hold on to the Amulet in case they have Prismatic Ending. So, like, just play Misty Pass. Next time we play Amulet, Bounce. No, I guess that puts us 1 short of Titan mana if we do that. So we kind of have to play into the Prismatic Ending if they have it. But I like to cast Titans as fast as possible, so... We get punished for playing out the Amulet if we drew Mycosynth here. That way we could hold up the Mycosynth to copy in case they have a removal spell for our Amulet, like a Viseiju or something, but the upside is being able to actually cast Titan, which seems like a pretty legitimate upside to me, so... They're putting in Cauldra Complete. I think we should be able to race this one if we can draw a little bit of action here. Also, if I'd known we were drawing second Dryad, I would have just bottomed a Dryad, but, you know, hindsight 2020. Dismember would still be a good draw. Still weirded out by the presence of Arbor Elf here. I don't really know what that means. Oh, they have the Prismatic Ending too? Rough. Another Bounce Land is actually not too bad. Play Bounce Land first to play around removal spell. Opinion on Turn Timber. Like, do I like the card? Do I think it's good right now? Or what? Because, like, if you're just asking for my general opinions on Turn Timber, I think it's a freaking awesome card. I really like Turn Timber. But whether it's the best thing to be playing right now or not is a different question. Because I don't think that we really have room in the mana base for Turn Timber, although I'd be curious to see somebody put together a list with like 2 or 3 Colossus and 3 Turn Timbers as part of like the mana base and go for like a threat-heavy Mycosynth list. I know Punt has played something like that in the past, you know, before Mycosynth was printed at least. Titan probably still just wins here, by the way. I'm not gonna throw my Grazer under the bus. He's worth too much to me. No Titan. That's cool. That's cool. So we can play Dryad, land, or maybe just play 1 land out. Can't haste. If we also play Dryad here. I mean, trading with Magical doesn't seem like the worst idea. Then it uses 5 mana to get it back in play, so... Although they probably will just not block. Oh wait, we can play Dryad Forest and still haste? Keep 1 land in hand for Valakut triggers. We haste, we block. I guess we like chump and absorb 3 of this damage. We can afford an attack here and hope that they trade, actually. We'll haste the new Dryad. This plays into Force, I guess. Still really haven't learned much about what our opponent's deck is doing, because Stoneforge Mystic and these two don't actually tell us that they're not on Devoted Druid, necessarily. Because I could see them still playing these cards in a Devoted Druid deck that is already playing Stoneforge for Viridian Longbow and the Giada. So... Boseiju Slayers. Oh, well, that doesn't really matter, so... In fact, this just makes us slightly more likely to draw a Titan. And we had put a Titan on the bottom with our mulligans, so... Utopia Sprawl. So this explains the Arbor Elf. It doesn't really explain what they're trying to do with all this mana, but... Oh, they named black. We saw God the Shrine in game 1, so that's not super much of a surprise. They do have Tivar. My money is on Devoted Druid. This has got to be a Devoted Druid deck. It's a lot of mana. Necromentia. Oh. Okay. Even just naturally drawing Valakut here may not be enough anymore. Although they are hellbent. So if we were to draw exactly Valakut, we could play Valakut land, kill, I guess, shoot 3 at Tivar, 3 at Stoneforge, and then the turn after kill Batterskull. Because if we kill the Batterskull, they just pick it up and replay it, so it doesn't really accomplish anything. Or we could double block the Batterskull. Actually, I kind of like that. Double block here. Do we throw the chump? It's trample anyways, so might as well just not take the 3, I guess. Valakut. Amulet. Well, we're not technically dead yet. We can still draw like a Colossus, I guess. So we'll play Amulet. And just pass back. They can re-equip Batterskull, now I think about it. I guess if they do that and we're just dead, probably 9. Yeah, I think we're... No, we can block and take... we can block and take 5 down to 1. No, they attack with a Stoneforge as well. Yeah, we're actually just dead here, so we'll scoop it up. Sorry, I was looking for the concede button. It's, I don't usually lose, so it's hard to find that one sometimes, you know? Okay, well... Didn't see much hate for Saga. So I think trimming Saga is probably not the method. Not loving Explore here. They do have Necromentia. Doesn't make me want a copy of Hydra Crisis, though, because I think Cultivator Colossus is our secret out to that. They have Tivar. Maybe Bog is worth it, maybe it's not. Yeah, I think this is just it. We could potentially bring in Force, but since they're going to get Cauldron 90% of the time, just don't mulligan. Yeah, exactly. Well, this hand has Amulet. It has a bounce land. I mean, can't really do better than this. We could top deck a copy of Mycosynth Gardens. That would be pretty good. Opponent is asking why Grazer didn't die, which doesn't make sense because it... I'm pretty sure that it did die. But then they're also asking if the new land looks good in Amulet. I'm telling them it's great, because that is my opinion. Leading on Saga and hoping and praying that they don't have a way to disrupt it. Don't Nature's Claim me, bro. Don't do it. Arbor Elf. That is relatively fun. Hey! We found it! We found it! And we even get to play Grazer here with the secret hidden mode. Bang! Filter for a green. How about that? Although, actually, now I think about it, playing Grazer might have been actually not great, since it's +3 mana with double Amulet in play, but that might have been a punt. I got excited that we could cast Grazer, but maybe casting is not the best. Because we would have had Bounce Land and Grazer into Bounce Land after copying the Amulet. Okay, well, we still need to draw a ramp spell because I just got overexcited and cast Grazer, but you know. So we copy, we have 1. Get double Amulet up to 5, yeah. Don't post Sage me, bro. Yes, just don't anything me. Just cast something irrelevant like a Tivar. I'm feeling a Tivar coming. Yes. The funny thing is, I don't know how irrelevant that actually is, but they're untapping for the extra 1 mana. Free Arbor Elf. That's value right there. This is just going to cast another free Arbor Elf. Or not. Okay, so doing the math here. We float, get Amulet, copy Amulet, have 1 in play, play Growth Chamber up to 5. So we're actually turn off the combo here, so I guess I might as well make a dude. This turn is not going to be spicy because we don't have the technology yet. We gotta wait 1 more turn. But we get to play our Stronghold. Get that in play. Yep, we were 1 short. That's why I shouldn't have played the Grazer. I didn't think about it. This is one of those things. So, like, it is a mistake, but in particular, this is a really informative mistake because the reason this is a mistake is specific to the card Mycosynth Gardens. When you have a copy of Gardens in play and can potentially make a second Amulet, holding Grazers is typically better because that Grazer represents +3 mana with double Amulet. Usually, when you only have a single Amulet out, it's better to just go ahead and throw the Grazer in play. And obviously, if they have like a Ragavan or something, that's different. But this is actually a very teachable moment for myself and for you guys. So, Brutal Cathar. Exile target creature an opponent controls until this leaves. Oh no! What are we gonna do without our Construct token? This is the worst possible timeline. Might as well just concede, I think. Anyways, I think we're still short here, actually. Because we copy this. Because we lost the Saga. Come on! We just needed any ramp spell. Okay. Well, I guess we don't want to copy here then immediately, because that would play into Force of Vigor, so we might as well hold up the Mycosynth then. So if we copy, we leave 1 up. We play Bounce Land up to 5 mana with a double Amulet, which is 1 short of Titan. If we don't copy and just play Bounce Land, we still have only 5 mana. So we're just going to bog them, I guess. I mean, assuming they can't just kill us, then we're still looking good here. So we don't want to always yield to Amulet. Had that happen once and did not enjoy it. So the question is, we can still play around Prismatic Ending by copying at instant speed. So there's really no reason not to just pass here and hold up the Mycosynth. This also means that if they had wanted to, like, hard cast Force or something, this is more awkward for them. Yep. Having to sack the Saga, very, very annoying. They hit a Stoneforge Mystic, and they can activate it immediately thanks to Tivar ability. I mean, I think that what we're doing goes way over the top of what they're doing if we're not just dead, so... Looks like they may be on non-devoted druid things. They might just be playing a value game here. They did get Kaldra, of course, so... They're playing Brute because it exiles something that their opponent controls and gets value, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they can return it with Tivar. Yeah, it doesn't work well with Tivar, so... Also, somebody followed, but I don't know who. Hey, Bailey. No Elish Norn. No, not this time. I thought you were keeping that tech on the down low. Might as well just not take the 3, I guess. We're winning next turn anyways, probably, so... Alright, on Instep, we'll go ahead and get our extra Amulet here. Again, hopes and prayers in the chat that they do not have Force of Vigor. Nice that we can do this at instant speed. Another Grazer is actually pretty decent here. It's going to represent a lot of mana. So I think the plan is just to Titan into double bounce land and then go for Colossus. Yeah, we aren't beating Force of Vigor anyways, but we'll just pick up the bounce land here since we're going to go for the Colossus route. Play our Titan. We can get... Now we just have to get a green bounce land. At least one green bounce land and then something else. We could get green bounce land Boros Garrison, so that way we'll have the mana to activate Slayers. I think green bounce land Boros. Or we could also get green bounce land T-West. We'd have 2, 4... Oh, hold on. We'd have 4, 8, 12... plus 2 from the T-West. I think T-West is just deterministic here as well. So we'll get, let's see, green bounce and T-West is 6. We Grazer down to 5 up to 9. We don't need to transmute immediately, though. We just need to be able to cast Colossus, so this should be fine. Wish we could have done this like 3 turns ago. We were very close to it, believe it or not, but... And here we'll actually pick up the bounce land because it nets us more mana in the long run after we resolve this Colossus. Yep, the opponent is seeing the answer to their question. That is correct. Courtesy of the Mycosynth Gardens. Hashtag sponsored. Alright, and again, we'll just pick up bounce land because we're about to go absolutely ham with Cultivator Colossus. Bang. Oof, a second T-West? Oh man, this is what you call doing it. Yep, our opponent's definitely dead. Now the question is, how many triggers can my laptop handle? Do we hit double pact plus Dryad? What the heck? Sadly, no second copy of the Mycosynth Gardens, so we can't just make a 3rd amulet or 4th amulet. You know, sadly, is what it is. And see, the way you want to do this officially is, since there's 2 amulets in play, every time a land untaps the first time, you float the mana, but then afterwards, you just leave it untapped, because if you need to bounce it at the end of all the sequence, you can just float it before you pick it up, but you don't want to float mana that you would then lose and not be able to have in your second main phase, so it's better to let everything untap once. I haven't tested it. I'm kind of curious to yield to one of the amulets, and as long as I'm not yielding to both, it probably should just resolve, but I'm not brave enough to try something experimental like that at a time like this. This is too serious. See, some would call this the fun part of playing Mycosynth Gardens and Amulet, but actually resolving the triggers is annoying to me. So, like, some people, like, really enjoy going through the motions of it, but that's not why I play this deck. I don't like to just do a lot of game actions. So far, the deck is looking pretty sweet. We're doing the Mycosynth Gardens thing. I think we did that in game 1, too, did we not? Alright, so we're gonna have to pick up some lands here. So we'll pick up one of the bounce lands. We'll pick up one of the T-Wests. We're actually just going to float and pick up the second T-West as well, because value. And we'll pick up Forest, I guess. And Bajuka Bog for absolute value. We'll play Dryad. And we'll Summoner's Pact for Primeval Titan and cast it, and hopefully that'll just be enough to end the game. Maybe our opponent will concede to this. There we go. Win the match. Yeah, so, opponent, to answer your question, I think the land is pretty good. That's my official stance. Okay, well, looking good so far. We'll hop back in for match 2 here. On the play again, because why wouldn't we be on the play after what just happened? Whew, we got an Amulet, Saga, and Mycosynth Gardens hand. I think they call that a trifecta. No bounce land, though, so no quadfecta, but... I mean, we can always get Expedition Map with our Saga, and then copy it with the Mycosynth Gardens. We're definitely keeping this. That's pretty obvious. Probably leading on Saga, Amulet, turn 2 Mycosynth. You'd be surprised how quickly a good turn 1 can turn into a horrible, sad turn 1 when your opponent just has Force of Vigor. But, you know, definitely playing out the Saga here to get our extra 1-drop as fast as possible. If we just top deck bounce land, then we don't even have to worry about anything. We can just go about our lives as usual. Opponent? Opponent? Oh, no. Oh, no. Sacred Foundry? Ugh, get it out of my sight. Well, we now have 3 copies of Amulet plus an Expedition map, so that's cool, I guess. This is not in the mirror. I got excited for a second. I thought it might have been. Mycosynth, by the way, cards busted. Oh no, not Renin 6. How can we beat Renin 6? Well, I'll show you. Honestly, we're still a turn off here, so let's just get another Amulet right here. Who needs land drops? Just give me more Amulets. Okay, we'll float. Dryad is interesting. So if we get map here, play Valakut Crack map. We definitely need to get map. The question is, can we afford to Mycosynth copy Amulet here? As that just exposes our map to a prismatic ending or something if they have it. I think it's better to just play Mycosynth and map immediately and then just do things next turn and go from there. I guess we could have played Valakut this turn. Not that it really does anything, but thank you. I really enjoy the way that y'all have fun watching me play this deck. So just rip a bounce land. No need. No need. Yep. Next turn will be pretty good. An above average turn. You know. Yeah, this feels like GG's. Watch them have main board Magus of the Moon or something crazy. So we can play bounce land, float 4, copy Amulet, play Dryad, bounce land, float 6. Turn 4, by the way. Triple Amulet turn 4. Seems fine. Are we just Summoners Pacting for Colossus every time just because we can? Is Colossus better than Titan? Yeah, turn 4, kind of slow. Yeah, we definitely have better. I like doing something like this on turn 2, you know? We now have 2 turn 2 kills. Both of them involving Slayer's Stronghold and Sunhome, by the way. You know, just a little tidbit for those of you who might be thinking of playing some garbage nonsense like Hanweir Battlements. 3 mana Teferi, bounce an Amulet. Oh, if they bounce our Mycosynth Gardens? That's kind of brutal. Wargate. So we're playing against Temeshi Bloom? With the Renin 6. I haven't seen Renin 6 in that deck, but we actually might just be dead here. Oh. Yeah? Well, this is interesting. So for a small price of 1 white, they get to bounce a land and return Lotus Bloom to play. And then they can just do this as many times as they have lands, and then they have their own Cultivator Colossus, which will put all the lands back in play and let them refill. And they also get to make extra mana with Lotus Bloom, so we are probably dead here. Eventually, they just cast, like, I think previously the win con was like a big finale of devastation to haste all their creatures and kill us that way, but honestly, I like the meme on Hanweir. I don't think it's actually that bad. I much prefer Slayer Stronghold and Sunhome because sometimes just randomly beating for 2 with an Arboreal Grazer or like double striking something because you naturally drew it. You know, those type of things do come up. So I generally prefer to play Slayers and Sunhome. Not to mention that when you have double Amulet, which is going to be more common now, it's much easier to kill your opponent with Slayers and Sunhome. But, I mean, I don't necessarily think that... Well, they don't have any mana. I think we're not dead. Wait. Hold on. Just 1 second. Okay. Oh, come on. The worst draw in the deck? Well, now we're definitely going to go for Colossus, I think. All right, so I think we still win here, but that's just ironic that we had to draw freaking Slayer's Stronghold. On 5 to make sure there's absolutely no chance I punk myself out of a win here. I say absolutely no chance like there isn't any way I could possibly mess this up. False. What? Tameshi triggers on whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. So they get to draw a card from our Civic Growth Chamber. Okay. That's, I've never seen that before. Alright, let's make a third Amulet of Vigor, because yes, we will play Titan into, Civic Growth Chamber plus Boros Garrison, and then our opponent will magically lose the game. School's been good so far. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but we just took a quiz today and took our block exam for this semester most recently, like in the last week or so, and I feel like I did pretty well, so it's always a constant grind, but, you know, working through it. So we'll just pick up all of our lands and have... I guess if we play Colossus right now, it's going to die on state-based. It's kind of interesting. Is there a way to work around that? We might have enough mana to go Titan into second, like transmute for second Pact, and then cast Colossus, and that way we'll have at least one land in play so we don't lose our Colossus. I have to do the math real quick, but I haven't thought about it yet. Well, we have 12 mana, nice 3/3/3/3. So we pack for Titan, cast it down to 6 mana, get TUS, bounce. I mean, there's no way that's not enough to cast a Colossus, right? Because we have 6 floating already. All we needed is a small amount additional. So we go for Titan here. We need to have TUS, Summoner's Pact, and Colossus in deck, which we do, so this should be fine. And this is all so that we don't lose our Cultivator Colossus. Could just attack and kill them with this, but I want to be able to cast Colossus and then it stay in play. So, you know, it's very important, this sort of thing. You know, I might be intentionally crashing my laptop with these triggers. Colossus with triple Amulet, I'm just asking for the stream to be like, not available. Although we have double Valakut, so we might just put lethal Valakut triggers on the stack here. Once again, winning without even attacking. Not even going to float with the Civic Growth Chamber, because who needs it? Yep, boom goes the computer. And I just need to make sure I actually click the card Cultivator Colossus and not anything else. You'd think that is a simple task, but it's not. Let's just put in 2 Valakuts and then Slayer Stronghold and see if our opponent concedes then. Why not go for Azusa? Are you seeing what Cultivator Colossus is doing? Have you read the card Cultivator Colossus? Yeah. That's why I didn't go for Azusa. By the way, I'm not actually making fun of you. I just like to exaggerate for a joke's sake. But the real answer is because Cultivator Colossus lets me put all of the lands into play instead of just 2. Azusa would let us attack there with 1, but not even with both, because the Slayer Stronghold would only enter untapped. Yeah, so the reason for Colossus is they just die. What was our opponent playing again? I forgot. I legit actually... Okay, Tameshi Bloom, okay. So we want Dismembers for Tameshi. Do we want Endurance? I guess that stops them from returning something with Tameshi on a one-time sort of deal. They probably have Teferi, Time Raveler, so I don't know that I love Endurance anyways. I think it maybe just is Dismembers and nothing else. Force doesn't do anything. Seal doesn't do anything. It's either Endurances or nothing else, but I think I'm more inclined to be on the side of nothing else. So we'll trim some of these. I guess Bog is technically good against them. Technically. Nah, I think Bog is just too lost in the sauce. Although we are down to 32 lands, but... Is there a chance our opponent leaves their mana thing in the graveyard and we exile it? It's not a non-zero chance. I'll pick up a Bog. Whatever. It's not like we're going to lose because we drew Bajuk Bog. Hopefully. Yep. I was so lost in the sauce with the Mycosynth Gardens tech that I forgot what my opponent was playing because it didn't even matter. Oh, wait. Opponent has disconnected. Is there a way for me to show this to you guys? I don't think so. Oh, wait. Yeah, there we go. Opponent has disconnected. You never know. That might be connection issues. Oh, they're back. And this won't go back. There we go. Nah, they're not tilting. This hand does not look quite as explosive. It's quite good if we draw a bounce land, which we're only like 30% to draw, but I mean, I guess we can always potentially transmute TOS for bounce land. I mean, it would be pretty dumb of me not to keep this, so we might be holding Amulet in case they have Prismatic Ending, so we might not be playing this one out. Until we can, of course, that is, copy it with the Mycosynth Gardens. So, I guess we'll lead on T-West. I guess leading on T-West is not great if we draw another land and we can just hold it in hand and transmute it for the bounce land, so let's not. We'll lead on Sunhome. Thank you for the follow, Heathen King. Yep, not playing this Amulet because Prismatic Ending is a card. And we draw land that we'll play and pass. Holding Grazer because mana. See what they call for. Probably Tameshi. They have Tameshi. Did they exile the thing? As far as we know, they don't have the Lotus Bloom yet, so. No land? Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, but if we play T-West, then we won't be able to transmute for bounce land. If we play Boseiju, whatever, screw it. I'm slamming the Dryad into play right now. I'm not, if they can just slam Tameshi this upcoming turn, I don't really care that much. Call. See what they get. Cultivator Colossus. Oh, I mean, they're putting some threatening things in their hand here. And now they suspend Lotus Bloom. They should have just gone to discard and put it in the graveyard, right? That actually would have been better than suspending it, right? I mean, I don't know. Alright, so we'll play Forest. Transmute. Next turn we can play Amulet, then play Bounce Land and just start going off. And then their Prismatic Ending still doesn't matter. And we get to hold up Dismember, so yeah. Doing it this way is more deterministic, I suppose. The classic Transmute TOS for Bounce Land. A line you see extremely frequently. It's sarcasm, by the way. Swing. Alright, opponent. I mean, to be fair, they did get stuck on 2 lands here, so can't really be too cocky about this win, considering this happened, so. Yes! Somebody was trying to convince me not to play Crumbling Vestige. They're like, maybe a 10th bounce land. And I was like, I bought into it for a second, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna play Crumbling Vestige. And honestly, it might not be better. I just think it's funny that it's a contentious thing. They were wrong. Of course. And our opponent's not holding up Aether Gust, so I think they're just dead. I think. They could have Force, I guess. Force would be kind of embarrassing. They have a green card. We know for a fact because they literally put it right there, but I mean, Force me, I guess. Or be F6. That's cool too. We could go for a Colossus here. We only need to hit a bounce land or any 2 lands off the top, but I guess there's really no point in that because just Titan haste off of Valcut and, you know, kill them. Well, kills them, so. Nah. We'll pick up Boseiju here for value. We'll get Valcut Slayers, and we'll float a white with our Sunhome, and our opponent will be quite non-alive. If I can find the Slayers, here it is. I guess we might as well point some triggers at Ren just in case something goes wrong. They appear to be F6'd, but you never know. They could always hit the stop yields, you know, very suddenly and unexpectedly, you know. Face that one. Got combat. Swing. Feels like lethal. Yeah. All right. Well, no Mycosynth involved. No, actually, no. We actually did the Mycosynth thing like crazy in game 1, did we not? We Mycosynth so hard in game 1 that I forgot what they were playing. So it would be inaccurate to say that Mycosynth didn't help us win that match also. I think that Dryad is worth playing, and I just personally enjoy playing Dryad, so hey, we have a double Amulet hand. This Mycosynth Gardens card is fine. It's totally fine. You said Punt's article yesterday made it more clear. When you say made it more clear, made what more clear? Like the reason behind using Azusa instead of Dryad? Was it an article about the Mycosynth Gardens? Where did it say? Whenever Punt says something, I always listen because Punt is better at this game than I am. So, yep, you can cut Valcut and play more green sources, play Mycosynths and stuff. In theory, it's better. Is there a reason not to play Mycosynth on 1? If we play Mycosynth on 1 and Amulet, and top deck exactly Grazer or second Amulet, I think we get to win this upcoming turn. So it's better to lead on Mycosynth Amulet than it is Beseiju. I think this might be the very line that I was talking about, where Azusa works, but Dryad does not. So like if this Explorer were an Azusa, and we were to top deck Grazer, you could play Bounce Land, Float a Green, use the Mycosynth to copy the Amulet, leaving that green floating, play Grazer up to 4, then Dryad down to 1, Bounce Land again up to 5, does not lead to a Titan, but Azusa letting you play the land twice lets you play Titan on turn 2 with this line. Okay. You know, we could actually just do the old Amulet thing and pretend like this Mycosynth Gardens is not here. And just kill our opponent. Who needs Mycosynth Gardens? Oh, we're playing against Living End. So having the turn 2 kill here is even better. Because winning any game against Living End is always a great sign, so. Grazer, sure. We could go for Colossus here, now that we have Grazer. The normal turn 2 kill, yep. I'm not going for Colossus. 1, it's more clicks, and 2, when you have deterministic lethal, just, you know, do the thing. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. If we had to work around stuff, we could. Like if we had drawn Boros Garrison Center Slayers or Sunhome or Vesuva, then we could make it work, but opponent says 4th Amulet Titan this evening. I don't know exactly why it is that everybody is playing Amulet Titan. I can't think of a reason, you know? But that is a little unusual. Alright, so yes. Yes. And everything else sucks. Alright, so against Living End, we actually can afford to cut Sagas now that we have Mycosynth to copy Amulet, although it's not like it plays a whole lot better around Force, but technically it does, because then we won't be losing a land if we just don't copy with Gardens. So trimming on... I don't know that trimming on Saga is actually right, though. I guess they have Force and Foundation Breaker, potentially, so I think that we have to cut Saga, sadly. They also might have Blood Moons and Magus. I don't really want to trim more lands than that, though, to be honest. So if we're doing that, we're cutting Map. Oh, wait. Huh, I guess we have to keep one of these cards, huh? I guess we're keeping a Saga. We could play 2 Sagas over one of the Caverns. I don't hate that. Living End does sometimes play Moon effects. I have seen Living End players cast both the card Blood Moon and Magus. It just depends on whether they're splashing red or not. I'm gonna look at it in a second for the comment that somebody made about what Pumpkin Wine had posted. I know that they posted about it in chat, but I didn't see it. This hand is yeah, it's not there. Natural Bog. Okay. I guess we could have just kept the last hand and discarded Titan. Might have got there. Let's bottom. I mean, this is an untapped source. Tolari West is a Titan here, though. I guess we're just bottoming Sunhome. I don't know. Maybe it actually would have been reasonable to keep the last hand. They have Leyline. That stops our Bog and Endurances. Okay. I guess we're going to play Tapland, and the next turn we can play Mycosynth and Grazer. I mean, Bog doesn't do anything anyway, so let's just go ahead and Bog ourselves now so we don't accidentally exile something important. Yeah, and Valakut triggers. Leyline is actually surprisingly good against us, weirdly enough. Not because Valakut, because the whole Valakut thing doesn't matter at all, but mainly because it stops Endurance and Bog. Obviously, we can pretty easily kill them without Valakut, so. Dryad. Alright, well, we'll play this. Filter for green. Which we have already done twice since we started these matches. Put in... I'm just trying to think whether it makes sense to pick up Bog or not. Because we could potentially draw Boseiju to kill the Leyline, in which case Bog becomes a real card. So far, we don't have anything on our graveyard that we care about either, so I think picking up Bog is pretty free here. Honestly, we could even potentially transmute Tolari West for Boseiju just to open up that line, but honestly, we're probably just losing here. I was kind of banking on this Bog doing something, and then it didn't, so. Yep, I think we're just losing here. I really wanted to see that comment about what Punt said. I just don't have the time. Positive synergy reactions and a deck build. Negative reactions are caused in standard lists. I still don't know what that means. I sought out the answer, but I still do not know what is going on. What would be a reason to cut Dryad? Just because it gets blanked by Leyline, or that I guess that we don't necessarily have to kill them with Valakut? I don't think that omitting it because we don't have to kill them that way is a great way to look at it, because having the option to do so is, like, unique and good, right? It's not a bad thing to have multiple win cons. So we can block this, potentially start getting some Valakut triggers. I mean, we're going to go for it, I guess. Thank you for the follow. Mattress? Matres 33. I do not know how to pronounce that. I apologize. I guess we just play the Valakut, because we're probably going to want to transmute T-West for second Valakut if we're, like... Oh, I mean, Valakut doesn't do anything other than wipe their board, but... Foundation Breaker, okay. Yeah, well, that game was not particularly close. Honestly, would have been better off just keeping the first hand and discarding Titan. Okay. Well, they showed us Foundation Breaker, so that makes me feel vindicated in boarding out Sagas. I mean, really, there's nothing else that we can do here. So I guess we'll just run it back. Some people are high on the Living In matchup for Amulet. Like, some people say that it's a good matchup, but I personally have always found this matchup to be extremely awkward. This hand's... I mean, this hand is just going to die if they have turn 1 Leyline, but otherwise it's, like, got everything we need. So I think we're supposed to keep it. Hopefully they don't just put in a Leyline. Stop! I guess we have Boseiju for that, so it's not the end of the world. Are we playing out Amulet? I think probably not. We don't really have a reason to do that. Just exposes it to force and turn 2 Foundation Breaker. We'll just hold this, because we're going to be doing this and then this probably, so. Now the question is, do we take this turn to explore, or do we just go ahead and do the Boseiju thing now? I think explore is going to be the better option, to be honest. We'll still name Giant so they don't get a little freaked out about a potential endurance coming down the pipeline. Kind of wanted to draw a land there. We can play Boseiju Amulet, and next turn we have 5, so a ramp spell lets us get to Titan. Mycosynth does not. We just pass. Then we can Boseiju this, but I don't know if we're winning. Now I guess we need to Boseiju the Leyline anyways, so weird spot. Maybe we're just playing out the bounce land. Is that weird? Strange, because we want to make mana development here, but we also need enough mana to be able to Boseiju this and then still be able to Endurance. I don't think we're likely to have to pitch cast Endurance, but it is possible. I think we just pass. We are kind of relying on this amulet to catch us back up after we discard a land, possibly miss a land drop this upcoming turn, and then Endurance them. We could also just, like, pass over a couple turns and discard Titan if they don't do anything. It's not the worst. Saga. I mean, they could just kill this, but I'm not going to not play it, I guess. Now we're getting punished for not playing Cavern on Elemental. Not that it really matters, because we're not just going to play it out to be an attacker here, but... Is this the turn to play Amulet? I really do not want to get forced. I think we're still holding on to this Amulet. We're making it worse against Force of Negation, but playing around Force of Vigor I think is kind of important as well. I don't know, that might be punting. Maybe it's right to play the Amulet. I always don't know exactly how to sequence against Living End, because there's a lot of hidden cards that you have to play around, and I don't know which ones are the most important to play around. I feel like the one that we most easily lose to is Force of Vigor, so I'm inclined to play around that, but... Yep, if they just go land and go for the Living End, then we can pop their Leyline and then evoke Endurance. And then have Titan in 2 turns, thanks to the second Amulet off this Saga. If they just pass here, we actually can't Boseiju, because they can Violent Outburst in response. So I guess we have to untap here. That's interesting. They're gonna upkeep it. Okay. Another Amulet ain't bad. I guess we're supposed to play one now. Oh, but how do we beat Force? Because if they force us... we're going to have plenty of mana the turn that we're going off, right? Even if they force... So, we pop this off, assume they don't kill it. Get an Amulet. We float a mana. We play Amulet, they force it. We play second Amulet, have 1, go up to 5, Dryad up to Titan. Should be enough. I'm just going to play into the Force and just hope they don't have it. I think it's probably right to do this. Because I feel like there's so much that goes wrong. Because we might end up needing to Boseiju this and then Endurance. In fact, right now might be the time to do that. Like on our instep. Since they're tapped out and they can't Violent Outburst in response. I think we're probably supposed to Endurance them right now. They could potentially just go like cycle a couple Street Race and then Living End, but I think this is the timing. This also rewards us for playing out Amulet. And then we'll evoke Endurance. Cross fingers. Ah, it resolved. Okay, so we're looking decent now. Still, things could go wrong if they have Force. Foundation Breaker would be annoying, but probably okay. 3 blue. Are they just hard casting like a beater? Because force. Okay, sure. Admittedly, this was gonna happen to us regardless, but okay, I'll take that one. I will take that one for sure. Now we obviously have to just commit everything. I guess we don't want to auto yield here in case they were to blow up our amulet during our turn, and we want to copy in response. Whew. This is one of those games, you know? Foundation Breaker. Okay, what would you like to target? Okay, I have a response. The redundancy. The redundancy. Oh, goodness. I mean, we're not out of the woods, because we don't quite have Titan mana yet. Any 3-drop is good. Summoner's Pact can put us up to 5 mana, but we actually still need some other things to come together for us. So they aren't doing anything, but they don't really need to do anything when we're not doing anything, because their plan is a little more... Their plan is better against us than ours is against them, unfortunately. So, like, the longer we wait, the more likely they are to just Foundation Breaker us over and over and over again. We still can't do anything. We could just pack for Azusa and lose to Subtlety. Actually, that doesn't make any sense because then we would be out of lands. So, yeah, we need to draw another Amulet. We need to draw a Grazer or Azusa. And that would just be to get Titan in play, assuming all that resolves, which it may not. So, guess they're now holding up Violent Outburst as a board wipe. It's an awkward game. Very awkward game. Doesn't feel like it's that bad for us. Okay. I mean, we're supposed to play this so we can Titan next turn, right? Yeah. Feels bad to waste a Bog trigger, but... I mean, we're just supposed to do this. Definitely not packing for anything right now. Like, we're going to have trouble if they have an answer for our Amulet, if they have a Subtlety, if they have a Force for our Summoner's Pact. There's, like, a lot of things that get us here. Shardless. Really? Why? Just to attack for 2? Okay. I mean, I guess. So are we going for it? We can Pact first, since they don't know what we're capable of this turn. They're increasing the pressure on us. We could play Bounce Land and pick up a land, and then wait until next turn and not have to Summoner's Pact to cast our Titan. Can we wait 1 turn? I guess we also get to pick up Bog for whatever that's worth. If we Pact now... I guess we still are not losing to Subtlety. So, like, let's say we Pact for Grazer, played off Forest, and they Subtlety it. We can just play Bounce and pick up any land and still have enough to pay for Pact, but then it puts off Titan for even yet another turn? I really don't like this. They've got to have a Force or something by now, but every turn we wait, they get closer to another Foundation Breaker, and we take 4 damage. So, like, it's a risk, but I think I'm going for it. I hate it, but... This could be wrong. I'm just going to say. We might end up losing to this, or they could just force it and it doesn't actually matter anyways. Well, I guess we're waiting until next turn, everyone. We have a Bog in hand. Nice little lag on my laptop. Love to see that. Take our 4 damage here. I guess playing the Summoner's Pact thing ended up working out pretty well, huh? Now they're just going to hard cast Subtlety, and we're going to be not the happiest people. I mean, we don't really have a choice, though, so we're just going to make them have it, and then take the extra 3 damage. And hopefully our Titan will resolve next turn. And I make it uncounterable to play around the mystical dispute they definitely brought in. And I guess leave the Cavern in play for the same reason as that next turn, even though there's no way that happens. If they just, like, Blood Moon us or something, which they could do, because they're obviously playing a red splash mana base. It resolved? I was going to say, if they Blood Moon us, then we'll just lose, and that's fine. This resolved? Okay. Now the question is, do we even go for the attack? Because we attack, they Violent Outburst, then they could settle to our next Titan. I guess if they Violent Outburst, they lose their board here, though. But they could, like, cycle, then Violent Outburst. I feel like forcing the Violent Outburst is probably not great here. Wait, but if they had Cyclers, they would cycle in response to the Titan to try to find subtlety, right? Or they're just playing on Violent Outburst. What is going on? Okay. Well, I mean, we're searching. Mycosynth US copy Amulet. That's probably the play. Although, yeah, I mean, I was going to say that's not great against Force, but clearly doesn't matter that much. We can also hold up the copy until they're in step. Honestly, I think that is the play. Because, like, I just don't want to attack and force them to outburst us and, like, cycle, and just be dead. And admittedly, they might cycle, and then outburst, and we'd still be dead because we're at 10. So it's not, like, the hardest thing in the world to happen, but... This is a very strange game. I wanted to always deal to this. Yeah. They should have been cycling. I think to assume that they have 5 lands in hand, it would just be losing the game on the spot. Like, clearly they have cyclers. If they just go cycle, Violent Outburst, we would have been nearly dead to this stuff, so... Then again, they might not have Violent Outburst, but... I wonder if they exiled anything. No. They're going at it. They're trying to find it. How we navigate this upcoming turn is going to be weird as well. Playing around second Endurance? Are we blocking one of these? I mean, I feel like we're supposed to. It's going to give them an extra dork when this happens, but if they living in us now, we just get to resolve Colossus and go insane. So, like, assuming that they don't, like, pact our pact, or force our pact. Yep, this list has Dryad. Main phase Violent Outburst? Okay. We get to Endurance away their Shardless Agent, for whatever that's worth. Yep, so we just gained 2 life from that block. I think there's a strong likelihood our opponent is just dead. By the way, if you want to see the deck list, you can actually type !deck, and it links to the Stream Decker, which in this case is accurate. So we'll get rid of their Shardless Agent because value. And now, actually, I guess if they're living in us now, we have a Titan in the graveyard, so they probably just lose anyways, right? Because they living in us after we put, like, a bunch of stuff in play, and then our Titan just hastes itself and attacks for 20, so... Or, like, 16 or whatever. Oh, wait. I was about to pass through the turn, but I actually need to activate this Mycosynth Gardens, so... Luckily, our opponent was stuck looking at our top 3 cards that don't matter. So... Oh, they get the Foundation Breaker or Amulet. Well, it's a good thing I wasn't yielding to that, because we need this one. I mean, the Mycosynth Gardens plan is working, but we kind of need the second Amulet here to beat a second Outburst, but it's okay. No, actually, second Outburst doesn't matter, right? Because they don't have any board. So I think we're probably just good to go here, as long as we do things correctly. So we can Titan... There's not really anything special we can do here. So we have 6, 7, 8. So just, like, play Titan, attack with everything, force them to Violent Outburst, and if they don't, then what? We block here, Titan blocks this, take 5. We can play Titan, attack, get Valakut land, bounce land, no, Valakut land, play Forest. Oh no, we would need a Transmute. So we get double bounce land, second main play bounce. We can't set up Valakut here, sadly. With Dryad. What else? Okay. I think we're just playing Titan and attacking, and not playing our land drop yet. See, we can play Titan, attack, and get Mycosynth Gardens plus bounce land, copy Amulet, leave 1 floating, play bounce land up to 5, which doesn't really quite get us anywhere. Double Titan. I think we're short on that. I mean, we could cast 2 Titans on this board and just attack with one of them. That is weak to Force of Negation, though. Then we'd only have a Titan in play and no attack trigger, which isn't the worst. I think just hard casting stuff into possible force ain't the greatest, though. I think we're just gonna jam the Titan without playing land drop and go for the attack and see what happens then. We can always play second Titan, second main phase anyways. So I think we're just going for the attack here. Oh, I guess if we don't get the chance to attack, then we don't get second Titan main phase. But like they could have like Fire and Ice, but we haven't seen that card the whole match, so I'm not playing around it, I don't think. If they buy an Outburst here, then we're still just fine as well, so. In fact, if they Violent Outburst, we can pick up Slayer's Stronghold after we activate it here, and then our second Titan can get Mycosynth Gardens and green-white bounce land, put the green into red, and then play Slayer's Stronghold and attack with the second Titan. If they did this all in our main phase. Which is that's kind of cute. Go to combat. If they Violent Outburst, we can also just slam the Bajuka Bog on them. So, oh, why did I attack with the Endurance? That was not great. Well, I guess we can just double strike the Titan then. They would take 16. This is 19 damage. So they eat this and take. See, they take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 away. Yeah, they're definitely just eating our Endurance here. Maybe it's actually a secret big brain play here, though. Because if they kill our Endurance and we have an extra thing to get back if they, like, outburst us. I don't think the attack was good. I think it was just bad, actually, sadly. So we get double bounce land here. That doesn't do anything. Is it just another Gardens? I think that attack is not great. I think now that we've attacked with both, we pretty much just have to double strike Titan and try to get something out of play. Which is awkward against like Brazen Borrower or something, but if they had Borrower, they would have cast it already, right? No, wait, we can't actually double strike our Titan either. Man, this is just awful. Let's see, can we get another creature into play? We can pick up T-West and then pack for Grazer and play Grazer. Block 2 things. I mean, we're not going to be dead on damage here anyway, so maybe it's not a big deal. See, if they were to bounce our Titan, we'd take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we play Grazer, we're still taking 8 anyways if they bounce our Titan, so Grazer doesn't play around anything either. Maybe it's just Mycosynth T-West. Again. I think it's Mycosynth T-West. Yep, we're at 8, so. Grazer actually doesn't help us survive here because we block 4 and take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's still exactly lethal, so. Just gotta hope they don't have something to bounce our Titan. Man, that attack with his Endurance was so bad. I just hit swing all. Oops. Nah, because, so if we got a bounce land and the Sun Home, we'd have the red and white if we copied this with like Vesuva, but we would still need the additional 2 to activate the Sun Home. So this is just unfortunate. We could also have played bounce land in first main phase since we haven't made a land drop yet. We could have played bounce land and then attacked with both and double strike this, and maybe it would have worked out. But I was saving the land drop for doing something else this upcoming second main. I guess we could potentially have gotten double bounce land, transmuted for Dryad. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Yeah, I think I just punted away the game. Oops. Dang. Just by accidentally attacking with stupid Endurance, now we're just losing. Oh well. Our opponent's like, what could possibly be going on that they would make this attack and just be dead? Well, the answer is, no way! No way! Yes! This is what we want. Whew. Okay, we're not dead on the backswing. That's great. Okay. Whew. Saved. No, we can't get Grazer. Wait. No, we can't get Grazer because we don't have enough blue. And also, before they had blocked with a creature needlessly, Grazer wouldn't have stopped this from being lethal if they had bounced a Titan, but I guess it would have been right to still go for Grazer there and just assume they weren't going to bounce Titan. Oh my gosh. That was like multiple punts. It was really only 2 punts in a row, but that was not great. So I guess now we bog them. Yeah, I think bog them is fine. Because they're going to have to living in here to actually have anything. And then when we go for Colossus, we'll be able to put the Stronghold in play. So, not a big deal. Yeah. Our opponent actually saved us here by blocking. Yep. Unless they have a bounce spell or a removal spell or tap spell for Titan. In which case, they still win here, but... Grief does nothing. I mean, I guess it puts a body in play. After they living in again. Otawara? Yeah, Otawara kills us. This does not, however. So we'll block the Street Wraith so they don't get to look at our top 3 cards, I guess, and go to 1 exactly. Oh, they have Outburst for lethal. Wait, this might not be lethal, though. That doesn't make any... Oh, wait, no, because they don't have to living end here. Yeah. Now it's lethal, so... Okay. That was a very strange match. I take full responsibility for what just happened there, but it was still pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, well, we'll go to match 4. Man, that game would have been so different if I had just clicked on the Titan instead of right-clicking attack all. I just didn't even think. I was like, we're gonna have lethal this turn, a swing all. I intended from the start of the turn to block with endurance. I was even talking about how we might need to make an additional blocker in second main phase. And then I just attacked with the endurance anyways. Oh well. 4th in a row on the play. That's a little bit of luck. This hand's missing a bounce land, but our Saga very nicely shores up that weakness, so... I was gonna say, it feels like we have a lot of, like, Saga Amulet starts, but when I think back on it, it's actually not the case. We just have had a lot of Saga Amulet or Mycosynth Garden Amulet starts. Either one feels similar, because you're gonna end up with 2 Amulets on turn 3. So it just feels like I've seen this start a lot, but we haven't led on specifically Saga Amulet too often. Which is kind of interesting. If that tells you anything about the power of Mycosynth in the deck. Feels very similar to just playing Saga Amulet. It's like, it does what Saga usually does in game 1s, without being able to make the tokens, which usually don't matter that much anyways. Yeah, so I didn't intend to attack with the Endurance, which is why I didn't play the pre-combat bounce land. And then accidentally swinging with the Endurance would have made that line better by playing the Selesnya and then attacking and being able to double strike, obviously, but it was just the worst of every single possible combination because of how it happened. So we're going to take a hit from Ragavan here, I guess. Do we play out the Slayers? I don't think so. We might be getting scammed. Might be a little bit of scam action. Boseiju exiled. If our opponent has Blood Moon, that'll be bad, but if they don't have Blood Moon, then we're fine with that, so... Please no Blood Moon, thank you. Don't you dare fetch for basic swamp, opponent. Don't you do it. I have a feeling that I know what's about to happen. Douthie, Blood Moon, Fable. Whew. Okay, we're good. We're good. They knew how to instill the fear. Grief is kind of annoying here. I mean, we're still gonna... They're probably gonna take Dryad here. Yep. Bounce Land off the top wins. Bounce Land off the top. Hey! That wins! I like winning the game. Right, so now we get Amulet instead of Expedition Map. Bounce Land up to 6, Titan, double green Bounce Land. I guess, no, we get, Gruul Turf, Simic. Then we pack for Colossus and Haze both things. Yeah, this is just lethal. Assuming that I haven't yielded to Amulets, so I'll fix that potential error before anything ever happens. Yep. See, that's just the Amulet way, you know? Just never don't have it. This, I don't know what you're talking about. This start didn't even involve the card Mycosynth Gardens. Get the Singleton Gruul Turf that is here for exactly reasons like this. That's the only reason why there's a Gruul Turf in my deck, and 4 Sanctuaries and 0 Rot Farms, is because these things do come up a very, very minuscule amount of time. Slayer in hand. Oh no, what will we do? I'll give you a hint. It doesn't matter. Because of the card Cultivator Colossus. And there we go. Our opponent doesn't even want to see that we have Stronghold in hand. Too easy. We scammed the scammer, at least in game 1. Is Krasis good against Scam? It's not great against Blood Moon. Tracker is good against them. I used to board in Endurance, but they always take the Endurance with the Grief before they put the Grief in play. Endurance is good against specifically Fury, but actually even Dismember has the same issue. I guess both are good against them undying a Fury, but neither is that great against a Grief. Although Dismember kills the thing after the fact and hits turn 1 Ragavan. We don't have as many green sources for turn 1 Grazer, so Dismember for Ragavan makes sense, actually. And Saga goes, because Blood Moon is a thing. Force is good against Blood Moon. We only have 2 Boseijus. Actually, no, we have Seal of Primordium for Blood Moon. And we can also hit Fable with Seal, so I guess we'll take this instead of Force. We can trim a Cavern. Going down to 29 lands is a little sus, but actually maybe 1 Krasis makes sense. No, they're not gonna, like, double Necromentia us. They could, like, Thoughtseize away Colossus and then Necromentia Titan, and then we don't have anything to win with. I mean, even in that case, I guess we still technically have Tracker, but whatever. Trim 1 Pact because they could just Blood Moon us after we cast it. Otherwise, we kind of need them for redundant draws. Actually, I've talked myself out of it. I think we need all of the live top decks that we can get, so we'll just keep it. I don't think I like Endurance, to be honest. Dismember, I don't even love that much, but Explore is good. Map is unnecessary if we don't even have Saga in the deck, so just do this, call it a day. This is a matchup where Mycosynth should be very good, assuming that our opponent doesn't just, like, Blood Moon us. Mycosynth doubles as Sagas that don't die to Blood Moons, basically. This hand's not fast, but it has the lands. It has basic force against Blood Moon. It has a threat, and it has Dryad. Plus Valakut to go along. I mean, we're just going to lose to stupid turn 1 Ragavan unless we top deck an answer, but... And if they grief this hand... I mean, whatever. We have land drops to hit, so... We can't beat grief all the time. Hey! That's why the Dismembers are in the deck. Yeah, we'll lead on Forest, and we'll just Dismember this thing now, so they can't Undying it. This is also the reason why I'm so high on Dismember in the sideboard in general, but in specific, in the Mycosynth list, is because you can't always cast a Grazer on turn 1, but you usually can Dismember on turn 1. Dauthi is a little bit scary. We're not in any danger of Dauthi doing anything bad to us yet, because we haven't drawn a big creature, but... And to answer your question, I kept this hand because I think it's actually reasonable. We were soft to turn Ragavan, but we had top decks for it, and otherwise, we have basics to play around Blood Moon, we have a threat, we have ramp. Like, we can't beat everything, but this hand has a lot of angles covered, It's not great against Grief, but then again, no hand is great against Grief. So, like, especially on a mulligan. So I think it's defensible to just keep this. Well, we'll play out some things. And again, we actually have mages covered, which is one of the reasons why I kept this hand, is it still plays around Blood Moon effects pretty nicely. And we'll play our Mycosynth Gardens just to flex that it does not die to Blood Moon like Urza's Saga and pass the turn. And then we can just Titan them next turn, so. Or we could pact for Tracker and play Tracker Land, or Tracker Land now that they've just, terminated. But do we need to play Tracker on this board? Because we're dying pretty quick to this Douthie. Another Forest, ain't bad. Do we just have to play Tracker here? It dies to, like, a Bolt or Unholy Heat effect. We're about to take 5. So if we play land, take 5, play land, play Titan, they can just kill our Titan and kill us with Magus anyways. So I think we have to play Tracker here, weirdly enough. But then we can't really do anything next turn. I guess we could play a Grazer if we were to draw it as an extra blocker for Magus in case they kill our Tracker. Gosh, we might just be losing here. I think packing for Tracker is the only thing to really do. Just need to try to stop this Magus. Play Forest to play around Pillage. And we'll draw right now to play around Unholy Heat. Pass it back. This doesn't hit Magus, does it? Certainly does not. Still don't know exactly. Oh, Fury. Yeah, I don't think we're beating that. Yep. We're also paying for pack this upcoming turn, so we're just dead here. Which is fine. Yeah, maybe that hand was not a keep. Still don't think Force is good, especially with our opponent on Magus. Honestly, Cultivator's not that great against Magus either, but they could also have Necromentia. I think we just have to, send it off again. Is Endurance worth it here? Guess if we have Endurance, they have to pick it off of Grief, or we get to strip the Grief from their hand. So we'll trim a Cavernous Souls, that doesn't matter. And never mind. I guess we don't need them. Well, this hand plays around Blood Moon. We get to play a Grazer on turn 2. Actually, it doesn't play that well around Blood Moon. Because we have to actually play out the seal, assuming that we even have it in our hand to play it. We play T-West, Mycosynth, Grazer, and then have a turn 3 preemptive seal in case they have turn 3 Moon, assuming that we don't lose the seal. Otherwise, we're just losing the Blood Moon. But we get to stop Ragavan. Grief is a problem for any hand, but at least if they Grief these 2 cards out of our hand, we still have almost, so 1 bounce line away from Titan mana, a threat to transmute, and blockers. This hand's not great, but I think it does enough. We'll lead on T-West here. There's the Ragavan. So we'll Grazer to Stonewall that. Summoners Pact isn't bad. We'll make a green, play Grazer. They could Fury to kill our Grazer, and then bring back the Fury, and then our whole world just kind of shatters, but I think we have to play this, pick up the Mycosynth. Next turn, we can play Tracker Land. Or just Seal, depending on what happens. Thoughtseize, that's surprisingly fine. They didn't kill our Grazer. Doesn't mean they can't. But they haven't yet. I will block. Yep, block that one. Okay. So I guess it's just Mycosynth Grazer Seal and pass. Second Grazer to play around Rule Spell on this Grazer, so they can't get in with Ragavan. Seal to play around Blood Moon. Although they have Magus, so they may not have Blood Moon, but if they have Blood Moon, we have Seal, so. Bounce Land, I think, is our best top deck. Followed by Amulet into Bounce Land would also be good. Magus would be kind of rough. Necromentia we can beat. Wow, they have Magus and Necromentia. I mean, we still have Colossus, but we're a little bit further away from Colossus than we are from Titan. Just a little bit. And we already used our one tracker, so we can't pack for tracker to start trying to draw cards that way. Would be nice to have a second tracker in this matchup. Something worth considering. Or, as of right now, a Hydroid Crisis. Although we don't really have a lot of mana for Crisis, but Dismember insulates us against Magus, so guess we're just passing? Don't want to play another Grazer. Actually, do I? Does holding the Grazer give us any actual benefit? I don't think it does. I guess it insulates us against Kolaghan's Command, which doesn't really matter at the moment, but like if they were to Grief and bring it back, then having an extra card against Kolaghan's Command matters a little bit, but I don't think I'm interested in playing around it. This Grazer plays around double Fury a little bit better. So like Fury, bring it back, and then we would still not allow them to connect with Ragavan and be able to dismember the Fury, so holding on by a thread. Our opponent still has no threats. We just have a wall of Grazer. Explorer is fine. Now, Bounce Land off the top would be ideal. Valakut will take. I mean, if our opponent continues to have nothing and we continue to hit our land drops, then we'll be in decent shape. Well, they have Fury, which we probably should dismember right now, so they can't play land and have the Undying thing available. I guess there's no reason to do anything with the Mycosynth Gardens. Definitely killing Fury over Ragavan here. At this point, we're just going to lose to Magus, because we were already losing to Fury, so might as well just get it out of play. Well, okay, I guess we'll just pass. We could actually pact for something and still pay for the pact, even if the something that we packed for dies. It might be right to play Dryad on this board and be able to filter Mycosynth for green. We lose to Magus, but, I mean, we're already losing to Magus. We don't lose to Blood Moon because we have Seal, so I think since we already drew the Colossus, I think we're supposed to just put a Dryad into play right now. I would potentially pack for an instant speed endurance if we had that, but I didn't bring it in this time, so here's Dryad and pass. Ugh, of course they have Magus. Why would they not have Magus? That's cool, I guess. Well, that was easy. That's okay, though, because I literally said that we would lose to Magus if they had Magus, so I accepted these terms, and I got what I paid for, so we'll jump into match 5. Also, why do they have Magus and they just never played it any of the turns before? They just like, nah, we don't need to play this. Like, they passed for like 3 turns playing actually nothing, and then they played a Fury, and we killed it, and it's like, okay, well, we're doing pretty good, and they have nothing, so I'm gonna commit something to the board. Mages. What do you think the chances that they already had it in hand and were just sandbagging it for a reason that I don't understand? I would say no reason, but maybe there is a reason, I just don't understand it. So, is that all 5 on the play? This hand, it's not it. This hand is not that much better. I think we're going to 5. This hand does something. We'll keep it. Definitely can put at least 1 Saga on the bottom. Is it better to have second Saga or Mycosynth? Or do we just throw the Grazer away? Because that way we can get triple Amulet into play. I guess keeping Saga Mycosynth, we could put back the Dryad and play turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Mycosynth, filter, play Grazer out, and that way we can start activating our Sagas. It's weird. This is also better if we draw another 3-drop, but worse if we don't draw any more ramp and we're just slamming a Grazer out. I feel like it's better to put back a Saga here, I think. Any land lets us do the Saga activation to make at least 1 token, so. Yeah, I mean, they could have just been trying to bait the Dismember, and that's why they played out the Fury. Oof. Yawgmoth. Shouldn't be an easy matchup for us. We have our Titan, that's good news. So next turn we just kill them, right? So we play Mycosynth and just pass. Because we float with Saga, get Amulet, copy the Amulet, play Bounce Land, Dryad, Bounce Land, Grazer, Pact for Titan, and just kill them, so. Blood Artist. Cool. This is good. This is a different art for Blood Artist. Pretty interesting. So yeah, let's just, kill our opponent. So we'll get the Amulet. And we will copy the Amulet. Here we go. I'm wondering if we have enough to do 2 Primeval Titans here. I have 4 up to 10. Yeah, so we can actually double Titan them and attack with both. Which I will definitely take the liberty of doing. Could also Colossus and have it die immediately, but I'm not really into that life, so. Oh, wait. We have 2 mana floating. How do we only have 2 mana floating? I guess I must have miscounted. So I guess we can't double Titan here. Never mind. We'll just, kill them. Yeah, we have to haste off of Garrison Slayers here. This is still lethal anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but would have liked to be able to haste off of Valcut Slayers, but sadly the 2 mana we're floating are not of the white or red varieties, so. We'll haste here. And then we'll do it again. And we'll pick up these Slayers. And this is why we're playing Slayers and not Hangear. Get our Vesuva and Sunhome. Copy that one. Strange that it doesn't automatically choose. Oh, I guess it can't automatically choose because we could technically hit no and copy nothing. And our opponent has gone to -1 life. Oh, it's not -1 because they get to absorb a point of damage here. Wait, this is not actually... If they had blocked... No, they would still have taken 19, and the Blood Arts trigger would have gone on the stack. So they still would have been dead if they had blocked. So I'm actually lucky that was lethal there. Because I forgot that they would get a Blood Artist Dies trigger, but... You know, oh well. Okay, well, they definitely have Necromentia. Okay, so against Yawgmoth, we want Dismembers for sure. Explosives is okay, but it's a bit slow. Killing all their 1-drops is, like, reasonably important, but it also kills our own amulets, so... Tracker is interesting. It helps us dig out from underneath discard and helps us play a little around Necromentia again. First strike, so they live. Yeah, because they put the trigger on the stack in the first combat phase. So I think technically if they had blocked with Blood Arts, they actually weren't dead there. Oops. Okay, well, we're gonna cut Cavern. In theory, they could have forces, but... Or like, the green-black one. I forget what it was called. It's not Dead and Gone. What is it? Crime and Punishment? Yeah, I think they should have been alive there. I think we actually should have lost our own pack trigger, but... You know, Amulet life, I guess. Not my cleanest last couple games, but... Are we cutting Azusa? I don't think so. Azusa's good with Dryad and Valcut in case we get our Titans extracted. Summoner's Pact is decent. We could actually trim 1 Primeval Titan, but I don't think that makes sense. Explore's a little slow. I think we're trimming Explore and calling it a day. Just hoping they don't blow up our sagas. Not the best hand. Gonna mulligan this one. They mulligan to 6. We will follow suit. Oh, we can kill a Yawgmoth or something else. Probably just a Yawgmoth with Dismember. They would get to refill their hand probably, but it's going to be really bad if they kill our Saga, but definitely keeping, I think. Bottom, a redundant Dryad. As the bounce lands let us continue to hit our land drops. If we have to pick up the Saga, we will. I think that's better. I guess this is a little worse against Thoughtseize if they take our Dryad, then we don't have any actual ramp, but... I mean, I don't know, maybe putting a bounce land back is defensible here. I think it's kind of close. They have the Thoughtseize. See if they take Dismember. They might. Also, this hand is the exact reason why I usually will not play more than 1 copy of Cultivator, is because hands like this, the Cultivator is basically just blank, so... Please do not kill my Urza Saga, thank you. Unless it's a Boseiju, in which case, I'll accept that. I won't like it, but I'll accept it. Yield until instep. Strangle Root. Well, not going to dismember that one. If they have evolution for Magus, then we just... I guess we can dismember the Magus, like float in response to the evolution or something. That means that we're not playing bounce land, though. So we need a land here. That works. Still a ways away from actually getting to Titan, but we have a way to stop them from winning with a combo. And if they evolution for Magus, we at least can kill the Magus. Which I guess we take the moment to play out a couple bounce lands before we kill their Magus with Dismember. Just to get value. Magus can be our ramp. You can respond to the evolution itself on the stack. It's not like it just auto-resolves after they cast it. They cast evolution. They get the Strangle Root guys back, that's fine. I don't care about that. Yeesh, okay. But yeah, they would sack the Geist. Then the evolution and Undying trigger would go on the stack. They get the Geist back, that's fine. and then we float a color, like a green or a colorless or whatever, and let the mages, let them get the mages with the evolution, and then we just dismember the mages. Although they know about the dismember, so that wouldn't be the wisest thing to do, but they necromented Amulet of Vigor. I've never seen that before. It's not bad. I'm just surprised. Well, Necromentia Amulet of Vigor does make the Mycosynth Gardens look a little weaker. I've literally never had anybody Necromentia Amulet of Vigor against me, but I mean, it makes sense. Grazer, okay. Hey, it taps for green thanks to the Yavimaya. Thankfully, we still have something to get. Don't really have any particularly great lands to map for. We can use this turn to just, like, Grazer, I guess. And then, I guess we'll float with Boseiju, not that it really matters. Put in Simic. Pick up Boseiju. Play Boseiju. I guess we don't really need to hold up Dismember, so, like, we could play around, like, a Force or something by just mapping now. I think we'll just map now. We don't need to hold up Dismember this specific turn. Another bounce land gets us up to 7 mana for Colossus. Any land just lets us get to Titan. Valakut sets up a potential Dryad. Saga gives us blockers. But Saga will eventually die. I guess we could Saga, and the next turn make a token, play bounce, and pick up Saga, and then have Titan the turn after. I think blockers are not bad here. Although Saga dies to Artifact / Enchantment Hate. Well, I guess mainly Enchantment Hate. Could just get T-West. Probably shouldn't be a bounce land, because then we won't have the untap land to play on the turn the Titan comes into play. So I'm between, like, Valakut and Saga. I think Saga's actually a little bit better, but they could have something to kill the Saga. I guess in light of that, it's going to be better to just get Valakut and not let them kill our Saga, but and they had Boseiju. Although, I guess killing Saga with Boseiju is not quite as good. They draw with Peatland, which is a good sign for us, I think. We'll still have this Dismember from whenever they do find their Yogg, so we get to block this Strangleroot Geist all day with our Boreal Grazer, so guess we just play out our tap land here and swing it back to them. Try to get to Titan the hard way, I guess. Next turn we'll play bounce land, pick up Boseiju, and then we'll have untap land to slam Titan. Ignoble, sure. We'll just take our 3 damage. It's not a big deal. I guess the best draw right now would be Dryad. Dryad is the card that we're looking for. Saga. Well, if we play that now and then Nature's Claim us or something, we get kind of wrecked. So we can play Forest and then play Saga, and we still get got by Forest. So I think we're just playing Cruel Turf. I guess this is... It's not even technically worse against Magus, because we can just dismember the Magus, so... We're about to just slam a Titan the good old-fashioned way on turn 6. Thoughtseize. Okay, we're not about to slam a Titan the good old-fashioned way on turn 6. Oh, they take the Dismember? Interesting. I wonder if they just have, like, Land Yogg. If they have Land Yogg, I guess it's best to just block now, so we don't potentially lose out on saving the point of damage. Okay, and we're not going to play out Saga, because they could have Forest plus green card, so we'll play Forest. And then I guess we're just setting up Valakut triggers with Dryad, so... So we'll get second Valakut and, I guess, Talaria West. And then, even if they answer both Titan and Dryad, we still have Colossus backup, so this is looking pretty good. we don't really need Colossus value. We actually just want to kill them as fast as possible before they get the last missing piece here. They can find, like, Endurance to evoke and then have Chord for 1. They need to get a Chord for 2 here. So they'd have to have Evoke Endurance, Chord, land, and they'd have to have Blood Artist still in deck. And that would, like, actually kill us here, but if they don't put another creature into play, then our Dryad will just kill them or all of their creatures either way. They have land. Sequencing is going to be interesting here. Oh, Twilight Mire is actually the worst land because it doesn't actually tap for color. So this doesn't represent an extra, like, Young Wolf or something, so they could, like, Chord for 1. So I think them having played Twilight Mire means we're going to be in the clear here. Unless they have exactly Endurance evoked plus Chord, I think we're just winning, so. Now the question is the sequencing. Do we swing with the Titan first and then Pact? That way we can get, like, bounce land, fetch land, and then play fetch land into our Dryad so that we can kill them. We point 2 at their creatures and 2 at them, and then play second land. And if they kill the Dryad in response, then at least we killed some of their creatures by fetching in response or something. Okay, so the right thing to do is attack, get bounce land, fetch land, assuming that I still have one in deck. If they have force, we could potentially die to that. So I guess if they have force, then we potentially lose. I think attacking first is the right choice. That way we can kill Yawgmoth or some of their creatures in the worst case scenario. Oh, it is a force because of Yavimaya. Good catch. They can, like, Chord for 1 here, I guess. We have the Misty plus bounce land. Guess we get Misty plus Boros. This is going really all in on Dryad, but I think that this is safe to do, to be honest. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can potentially play Colossus, even if they kill our Dryad. See if they make any blocks. I guess that also means that we could have played Saga earlier thanks to the Yavimaya and still been able to tap it for mana so they couldn't force it in response. Sneaky card, huh? Do we lead on Cultivator? 5, 6, 7. No, we have to lead on Dryad, so we'll pack. And the triggers for Valakut have to be pointed at them, so they can't just let it respawn. Or they can't just let it resolve and then respond to later triggers. So we get Dryad here. Play Dryad. They fetch land, point the triggers at them, and then if they let them resolve, we just play second land and have fetch in response. But if they respond, then we can target their creatures after fetching and try to insulate ourselves that way. Always yes, always yes, always yield. This is why I still play a fetch land, by the way. I do find that this line, or this type of line, comes up, especially against control opponents, but in some situations like this, where, hey, see what I mean? They force pitching force. All right, well, we're definitely going to fetch. And I guess we're killing Mana Dork plus Strangleroot Geist. So they have less mana. Is 4 mana enough? If they don't have any recurring creatures, they could have double. No, they only have 1 card. So I guess killing both these things guarantees that we win. Or they could go up to 3 cards by sacking the Noble after floating. I think taking out their mana source is more important. I guess we could also just have killed Yawgmoth, but I think this is fine. Three, 4, 5, 6. We're one short of casting Colossus here, sadly. Ooh, I forgot that they get to draw off these. Yeah, maybe just killing the Yawgmoth would have been better here. And they would have been able to draw anyways, but I guess this... Weird. I don't know, would it have been better to just target Yawgmoth? No land drop. I guess we're passing. Well, now we could just be dead to a number of things. That's scary. Yeah, I guess we had to kill Yawgmoth. Because Yawgmoth is the hardest one for them to actually get into play. Okay. Geist is, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. Oh, no, it's still 9 because they put one on the Young Wolf. Yeah, I mean, we just lose to Cord here. We lose to Hardcast, Blood Artist. We lose to Evolution because they have not played a land yet. Goodness. I don't know if it actually mattered whether we hit Yawgmoth or the creatures. Does anybody in chat have any opinions? Because honestly, I don't know. They're going down to 2. Once they hit 1, they can't have any more outs, so... We can still Colossus into a Dryad if we don't draw a bounce land. Wall of Roots. Win with aggro. I don't think so. This doesn't look like lethal damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think they're just going to court us here and kill us with Shieldred or Jarl's Messenger doesn't work. But no, actually, right now, even Blood Artist doesn't work. I think we get there. Down to 5. Hit Yogg because it can reset the Undying creatures if you do it in response. Yeah. Interesting. Alright, we'll pay. And I guess we're just doing another Dryad here. If they have another Force, they forced Pitching Force before, so they have probably like 1 copy still up. And they do have Boseiju up with the Wall of Roots here, actually, since the Yawgmoth makes it cost 1. I don't think we can actually play around that, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we just have to go for the Dryad here. And there's no reason not to just do it pre-combat, so... This is a very close game. And we'll play Saga. And we win the match. Whew! I thought I was going to lose that one, I'm not going to lie. Well, that means that we ended up 3-2. There were definitely points when I was playing that I wasn't playing the best. Having played with Crisis in 2 leagues, one before this one and then the one I just played, like, it's a cool concept, but I don't think that Crisis is really worth it. I don't think it's particularly good against blue-red, since a lot of times we're just losing to Blood Moon now anyways, so I think it's going to be better to just play trackers. Maybe not even 3 trackers, maybe just 2. The jury's out on Seal, because whenever we played against decks that could potentially have Blood Moon, they were just playing Magus instead, like Scam. So Seal didn't really help there. It might be better to have 1 Seal and the Beseiju. Like, definitely having a 3rd Beseiju seems like a good idea. That could just be an issue of what I chose to cut in the sideboard for the Seals as well, so I don't know how I feel about only 2 forces as well. I like having the 3rd, but I could see maybe trimming an Endurance down to 2 as well. As for the main board, I mean, we won several games in this league thanks to Dryad, including the last game against Yogg, where probably without Dryad, I don't think that we really would have won that. Since, I mean, we could Colossus off of like a Azusa or whatever if we got to enough mana, but without, if we get Necromentia, our opponent just untaps and, they don't care as long as they can untap and win in matchups like, Yogg or a Devoted Druid, and those decks are popular. So personally, I don't really see reason to cut Dryads. I don't think it's that hard to make room for them in the deck, but I think there's still room for improvement here, both in gameplay. I'm still learning a couple things about Mycosynth Gardens. I don't remember. There's something that happened earlier because I was kind of unfamiliar with the card, and I made a little bit of a misstep. I don't remember what it was. Maybe somebody could say in chat or something. Or maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, because I'll probably end up putting this on YouTube, you can put it in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think this list has a lot of potential. I think probably if I were to run it back, I would run something like this. Whether Crumbling Vestige is better than the extra bounce line or not, I can't really speak to because it never really came up. I like the concept of having Crumbling Vestige as an additional turn 1 source that kind of doubles as a bounce land in a fail case. So I don't mind Vestige. It's also better with Dryad since, you can leave a Vestige in play. And, the Dryad Valkut lines do come up with Vestige. As for whether we play additional copies of Azusa, I think that Explorers is better, honestly, because Explore giving you the redraw helps you find the missing Titan that you might need to draw towards. It helps you find additional copies of Amulets and the Mycosynth Gardens and stuff like that, additional lands. Whereas Azusa kind of just sits there and does what it does, but if you just play an Azusa and don't have the setup, it's not as good. Whereas in the lines where Azusa does the thing that it does, most of the times Explore covers those lines as well. So I'm much more on Explore than I am on additional copies of Azusa. Obviously, if you're playing the no Dryad list, then you should be maxing on Azusa, or maybe playing 3, I could see as well, but probably just playing 4 there. I definitely don't want a second copy of Colossus. I think that just having the 1 is enough to do the thing with Mycosynth Gardens, like when it comes up and you need a Colossus. Like, usually you're packing for it anyways, and drawing copies of this card is always bad. So, like, we had one in our hand at the end of the last game there against Yawgmoth, and it just literally sat there and was a blank card and never did anything. So, who knows? I definitely think that 1 Colossus is the place to be. Although, I guess if you're playing the Azusa version, playing a second Colossus might make sense. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like this list is pretty solid. Maybe those small changes. I don't think that the Crisis is worth it. I think that additional copies of Tracker is always good, especially against the Blood Moon Magus decks. And honestly, I don't think that the Mycosynth Gardens actually changes our bad matchups at all. Like, we're still going to be weak against Scam and against Murktide, and I think that Tremion Caverns is not the best. I'd like to be able to fit a 3rd Cavern in the sideboard, but I don't really know what the cut would be. I think Dismember is very good as a 3 of. So, like, I guess the cards I'm missing are a Cavern Souls, a 3rd Force, and something against Creativity, because Creativity is not great for us still, although maybe Gardens helps that a little bit. But our worst matchups, they're not impacted at all. It still feels exactly the same playing against Murktide and Scam, but we gain a lot of consistency from Mycosynth Gardens and a lot of other matchups. I would imagine that the 5-color Zoo matchup, for example, is probably just almost a complete buy with Mycosynth Gardens. Like, I don't know. It's just a great card. It lets you play around removal a bit, and in the matchups where we lose, a lot of times just because of Blood Moon and Disruption, so it's more important to have things like Cavern of Souls and Insulation, Dismembers for Mages, that sort of thing. And especially if Amulet continues to be as popular as some of my opponents have said it is, I think maybe going up to a 4th Dismember, or, playing full 4 copies of Boseiju to prepare for that hate could be a good idea. But yeah, I really don't have much else to say about the list. What do you guys think about the Mycosynth Gardens? And do you prefer the Dryad list or the Azusa list? One card that I've seen Yusamoni's playing a bit of is Pact of Negation, which is kind of an interesting concept. It helps against the blue-red, like, counterspell decks where you just play your thing, and they're like, well, I'm just gonna Aether Gust it, or I'm just gonna, cast a Dress Down or whatever, and then it'll stop the threat, and I'll be able to untap, and you're like, Pact of Negation, and they just lose on the spot, because oftentimes that's what happens when you're just slamming a threat in this version of the deck where you almost always have double Amulet. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that it would be worth it to play Dryad in the sideboard, personally. But, I don't know, Pact of Negation is interesting. I think that it's probably not better than something like Defense Grid, since that also shuts down your opponent's interaction, but it just sits in play, and you don't have to worry about paying for the Pact on the next upkeep. So it lets you play with more ease against the counterspell decks and, Aether Gust and Dress Downs and whatnot. So I actually think that Defense Grid has some merit, but all of those things are kind of narrow, so I don't know that it's worth it. I'm going to say I'm not that super impressed by Seal either. I mean, I know that we didn't play against a matchup where it would have been particularly good, but I feel like this slot has a specific purpose, but it's not the strongest card, right? If you're playing Answers to Blood Moon, Boseiju is also a land that you can switch in when you are taking out Saga. It hits bounce lands and stuff too, so it's good in the mirror. You could also play an additional copy of Force for specifically Blood Moon matchups if you're going to be bringing in Force against them, and it has splash damage against Amulet and Hammer Time. But Seal of Primordium kind of just does the one thing that it does, and to me, it feels a little narrow. So I'm kind of sus on Seal of Primordium. I don't know that it's the right card for the job. I could also see cutting the seals and playing third Tracker or third Force. We're also pretty dead in the water to creativity. So I don't really know what the fix for that matchup is. It's kind of just a bad matchup. Like, you could play additional copies of Explosives, I suppose. Or, since we noticed already in the lead that we just played, there were several times where we just were able to fix our mana with Mycosynth Gardens, because the going down 1 mana doesn't matter if you're not making any other plays anyways. So I could see actually splashing, like, blue for, like, Swan Song or something, or Spell Pierce, and playing some Spell Pierces in the sideboard. That would be kind of nifty. I don't know that it would be good, but I think that because of Mycosynth Gardens, something like that is a little more feasible. So that's something worth considering as well. But I think maybe cutting the seals is a good idea. Get a third Tracker in here, and for now I'm going to say a third Force, but honestly we're just nitpicking over, very small slots in the sideboard at this point. So second Explosive seems reasonable. There's a lot of things you could do with that, with these slots. I was going to say that slot, but just the whole sideboard in general, you could mess around with it. Yeah, I think 3 Caverns is a sweet spot, but, like, this list is already extremely tight, and in my opinion, pretty clean as well. You could just, completely ignore the creativity matchup and be like, we're either gonna get there and they're not gonna have anything, or I'm just gonna lose to it, and say, I don't even want Engineer Explosives, I'll just play a third Cavern. I feel like if I was to try to fit a third Cavern in the sideboard, I would go that route and just say, who cares about creativity? Misty? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a flex spot. I could see cutting Misty for a Cavern as well. You lose a tiny bit of value. You don't get the 5th basic land against the Blood Moon decks, which I think is slightly relevant. You don't get the lines like the one we just had in, against Yawgmoth, where you can get, play around removal and stuff like that, but it's not the biggest deal. It's just like a small thing, so I could also see doing something like this. Thank you for the well wishes, Tyler. I appreciate it. Alrighty, well, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it there and shut it down. So, again, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. And if you're not following me here or on YouTube, then go ahead and leave a follow. Support ya boy. And I'll see you guys next time. Also, tweet at me and let me know how you guys end up feeling about the new cards, if you do any testing with it and all that stuff, I do check my Twitter on pretty much a daily basis. I probably should stop, but but yeah. All right, guys, this is Red Face Menace from the future again, coming back in here to say I forgot to record the sign off, so here it is. Thank you for joining me, everyone. This is Red Face Menace signing off.